Having talked about polarity, this next thing is going to sound like it's almost a continuation, and to some degree it really is. Polarity creates a vibration that we work with and becomes us, okay? But also polarity, if we remember right, it's the swing between two different poles. At one end, what seems to be opposites, okay, can really be just different degrees of the same thing. Well, one of the things that goes on in all of existence, in conjunction with polarity, is the principle of rhythm. That we do, in fact, swing between one end of the pole to the other end of the pole. From being positive to being negative, to high tide to low tides, to night and to day. That swing takes place constantly, and it takes place on all levels. Now, one of the things, if we go back to vibration, that we learned about was that vibration can control certain things that happen, and that the higher vibrations or the higher laws always control the lower. All right, if you take a look at yourself and those people around you, their moods, their ideas, their way that they interact with society will vary greatly. We all go through a type of thing where it's a mood, or are we depressed about something? Are we sad about something? Are we happy? Are we elated? We swing from one pole to the other. Wouldn't it be great? I mean, if we could just take that principle and help get rid of those negative swings towards that end of the pole. And that's really what rhythm is intended to do, once you understand it. The masters are able to just, for the lack of a better term, and may in fact be the best term, achieve a degree of what I call polarization. In other words, they have been able to conquer that swing from one side to the other, from one end of the pole to the other end of the pole, and have able, step by step, to remain a little bit more positive each time that they try and make this principle work for themselves. And again, we want to go back and say that thoughts are things, that the vibration that you create by what you think can help determine what you think. And what happens is eventually you become, and again, one step at a time, you become more positive, and you hold yourself a little bit more stable in that swing, not under the impression that you're just going to go towards one end and you're going to become a master. I think probably that's going to happen maybe a couple of 100,000 years from now in the course of our evolution. But it's something that can be done, because as those thoughts become more and more positive, the overall vibration that you create will create more positive thoughts. And as it creates more positive thoughts and you become more positive, you're going to tend to bring yourself closer and closer to that positive end of the pole. And stand by and watch when the swing takes place and you're not affected by it. Now, what it just simply means, it's almost like letting that swing take place at a lower level, almost on a subconscious level, and it doesn't affect your conscious mind, because your conscious mind has remained much more positive. So again, this is all tied in, and I think you're going to see, as we move through different things here, in finishing up these universal laws, that all these things that we've been talking about are all joined together. They're all, in other words, you can't have vibration without having it have its effect in correspondence, which creates a certain polarity, which will create either a swing or a stabilization using the principle of rhythm. These are not easy things to achieve. These are things that have to be worked at. One of the things that I had a problem with, there's one of the books that just made a tremendous impact was The Secret. And The Secret has some very valuable and some very correct principles when it talks about being able to create and to create your existence. And it's very true, and it does work. However, what they're not taking into consideration is that overall vibration that you create has to be something that can easily direct what happens in your life. And by that I mean is this. If you come back with a vibration that has been established in a past life, that vibration, and because of it, you have things that you have to learn in this life. You have to take that next step of evolution that you're here to take. If you try and do something that's contrary to that, or to change it in some way, you're going to have a very hard time doing it. Things like The Secret make this process out to be absolutely foolproof in every case. Whatever you visualize, whatever you desire, whatever thoughts you put out there is going to work. But you can't go against the laws of vibration. And vibration is not a matter of what's going on right now. Vibration is where you are in that swing, okay, of evolution, of vibration, all right? And the next step is designated or created by all those things that have happened in the past. But, as it says in the Kabbalion and the universal laws, that the masters have achieved an ability. They will to will. And what that means is they create a vibration, it's positive, they hold it, they to some degree polarize themselves at a particular level. Their overall vibration becomes more positive, and because that vibration is positive, it generates more positive thoughts, which in turn reinforce it. I know this is an awful lot to throw at you, but as best that I can make out, this is what goes on, and this is how you begin to take control. Is step by step, little by little. You have to work at it. You have to create as best you can that level of positive vibration, which is going to hold you from that drastic swing in the opposite direction. Because that swing in the opposite direction is going to let you create something very negative, all right? And that's what you want to avoid. We're going to go into cause and effect again a little bit more, and I hope you see how all these principles are tied together and that it really does that work that way. That whenever something happens, all of these principles are tied together and one affects the other. And the result is who you are, what you are, and where you are in the chain of evolution and the days of your life.